and welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Marks of Excellence here on Fox Sports Radio 1340 AM and 96.9 FM. As always, I'm your host, Glenwood Thomas. With me is the Wizard himself, Nephew Corey. What's going on, Wizard?
Hey, what's going on?
Man, nothing much, man. Nothing much going on. Getting ready to give our prediction for the Super Showdown coming from Australia on this weekend. We saw Monday Night Raw. We saw SmackDown. And now it's time for the Super Showdown in Australia, man. Let's get this thing off and popping as we normally do. Let's get started with the first match from the Super Showdown, which we believe will be the first match from the Super Showdown. And that match would be none other than Cedric Alexander taking on Braden Murphy here. What are your thoughts on this match? I think I'll let you go first.
Which match is this again? I was clicking in and out.
My bad. Cedric Alexander taking on Braden Murphy.
Oh, you talking about Buddy Murphy?
Buddy Murphy,
That's
sorry.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy. I think Buddy Murphy gets it. I honestly think so.
I don't think Buddy Murphy gets this one here, though. I mean, I know it's in Australia, and I know it's in his home, and I like the feud, but I just see Cedric Alexander hanging on to this a little bit longer. I think Buddy Murphy is a good star. I think he's up and coming into 205. I think Cedric Alexander has put on some great matches in the past. I just don't think this is the person who wins in Australia because they're home. And I think Cedric Alexander, surprised or not, I think they like Cedric Alexander as being a 205 champion. And I think he gets it. And we know in wrestling history, most people don't win the championship at home anyway. It's been a very few. I think Kurt Angle won it in Pittsburgh. And I can't remember too many other people who won in their hometown.
Yeah, but he's going, yeah, I think he gets it, man. I'm sorry. It's just something feels like he gets it.
All right, we'll see. We differ on that one. We'll see. I say Cedric Alexander. You say Buddy Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. Do we go to Asuka, Naomi, taking on the IIconics. Now I'm going to start here with this one. This is the team that I think wins in their hometown. I think Asuka and Naomi lose this match. Since we watched SmackDown, we saw SmackDown in the past couple of weeks. We saw Naomi get a win. We saw Asuka get a win. I think that was setting up the fact that the IIconics would definitely get a win here in their hometown or in their home country. So I want to say the IIconics get the win over Asuka and Naomi.
This is one where I think it goes the other way. I think Naomi and Asuka do get the win in this.
Okay, I mean, Naomi needs something anyway. I think Naomi needs that W. Asuka, not much so. I think Asuka is going to get her single run later on anyway. But I think Naomi definitely needs something here. But I got IIconics, and you got Asuka and Naomi. Let's move on to the next one here. New Day taking on The Bar. We saw him this last week, SmackDown. The Bar destroying the New Day pancake recipe segment, or whatever you want to call it. Who you got here, The Bar or New Day?
As much as I think The Bar should be getting it, I'm gonna go with New Day. I just feel as though they're not. It doesn't feel like they're gonna lose to The Bar at this show. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't feel like it here. I just don't have a good feeling about them losing. So I'm gonna go New Day, honestly.
I think we can agree on this one. I think New Day gets this just because they're in Australia. They're the feel-good moment, the feel-good team, per se. The fans are going to really be into the New Day. Haven't been in Australia for a while. New Day brings their new gimmick. Not new gimmick, but they bring the New Day antics down to Australia. I'll be interested to see if they bring Butterworth with them down to Australia as well to get a little bit of revenge.
Yeah.
To get a little bit of revenge on The Bar. I mean, I think The Bar, when they were tag team champions, were good tag team champions. I'll be interested to see how WWE moves on with this one. But I think Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E Langston will retain as SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Which combination of New Day do we get?
I think you get Kofi and Big E.
I do too. I think we get Kofi and Big E as well.
And let Xavier work the crowd.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think Xavier does work the crowd. I think Kofi and Big E, to me, is the better pairing anyway over Xavier. I know a lot of people have a would differ with that, but I think Kofi and Big E are the better pairing between New Day. But nonetheless, New Day gets to win over the Bar. Let's move on here to the grudge match. This is one of the better matches on this card. We will see Daniel Bryan taking on The Miz. This is I don't want to call it, it's not the rubber match, but this is the third match between these two guys. We saw that The Miz won at SummerSlam. The Miz and Maryse won at the last pay-per-view that we had. And so now we get Daniel Bryan taking on The Miz. Who do you have here?
I think you go Daniel Bryan, man. I don't see. He just re-signed. I think you get a return on the investment. I think you got to go Daniel Bryan. You don't have to, but I think that's where they go.
I think that's where they go too. You know, our buddy and our friend Brian H. Waters, which you can hear his podcast, Break It Down with Brian H. He believes The Miz is going to win, but I think Daniel Bryan gets this one. I think The Miz goes to 0-2, and what's better way to get payoff is for Daniel Bryan to become the #1 contender for the WWE Championship by beating The Miz. It just adds a feather to the cap of Daniel Bryan, and it'd be like, hey, it's the payoff for this one, this feud between Daniel Bryan and The Miz, and it's for another way for Daniel Bryan to say, screw you, Miz. You know, I think Daniel Bryan gets the payoff here. I think Daniel Bryan makes The Miz tap. I think it's gonna be twofold here. I think Miz taps, and Daniel Bryan gets to win and moves on to face whoever the WWE champion is going to be. I'm not going to put my prediction out there yet of who Daniel Bryan will face, but I think we'll get Daniel Bryan getting the win over The Miz for the #1 contendership for the WWE title, which this storyline has been real good. The storylines of SmackDown, because they're a little bit more personable, has been real good. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do these personal storylines like this, I think SmackDown has the viewing audience and track record that shows that it works on their show probably a little better than Raw. So I honestly would do those things on SmackDown. I think it's working well. I like them.
Definitely like those, and plus they do a lot of vignettes outside of the arena. Well, let's move on here. The Bella Twins, Ronda Rousey, taking on the Riott Squad. I don't think we need much discussion on this one here.
I don't think so either. I'm going Rousey and the Bellas, man.
I'm going Rousey and the Bellas, but I think they're going to be a little dissension between Ronda and Nikki Bella here to try to set up something for Evolution.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think there's going to be a little dissension here, and shout out to Liv Morgan, who's recovering, doing well. I don't think we see any yes kicks.
Recovered.
Sorry. Recovered.
Because, yeah, she's been, from what I'm hearing, she's been cleared to wrestle Saturday, so good for her.
Past concussion protocol. Do we see any yes kicks in this match?
You know what? Conventional wisdom would lead me to believe no. But I think you should do it just to debunk anything, all these fans saying this and that about it. I think you use that to debunk that and just let her do it again.
That's what I would say too. I think you let her do the yes kicks. We had Daniel Bryan come out early in the week who defended his wife on social media, on Twitter. And which a husband should do. Go ahead and support her and defend her. I don't think, and we talked about it on last week's show, I don't think it was all her fault. I'm not going to blame anyway, but just go back and watch it, and you have your own opinion. Those who listen to us, what you think about the yes kick. But I think she should do it in the match as well, and I think it should be done on Liv Morgan as well, just as a spot. Not that in bad taste, but hey, look, it was a mistake. It was an accident. Many wrestlers, many wrestlers have gotten hurt in the ring by accident. It happens.
Absolutely.
No one goes out there and intentionally goes and shoots on anybody. Not in this day. Not in this day and age, anyway. Not in this day and age. But let's move on. We all agree that the Bella Twins and Ronda Rousey gets the win here in this match. Move on to, this is the one that I want to see. This is one that I've been going back and forth all day long about who I don't know who's going to win. That's Becky Lynch taking on Charlotte Flair in this match.
Yeah.
This is the one that, to me, if you look at the odds, it's 50-50. It's a toss-up. I don't know who, in my opinion, I'm not sure. Even as I'm talking right now, not sure who's going to win this one. Your thoughts on this one, Wizard? Who do you have, Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair?
I feel like because the feud has just started, I think you go Becky Lynch.
See, I look at this feud, and I don't want to compare it to Ric Flair and Steamboat, but I can see this title switching back and forth as that it did, and then now they continue, because who else is there on SmackDown that's throwing the title picture? Besides, I mean, you got Asuka. That's it. You can't throw Naomi in there. You're not throwing any of the IIconics in there right now. Who else is there?
I guess you're right. Nobody right now.
You know, so I think these two will feud for a long time back and forth, unless WWE decides to bring somebody up from NXT, which none of those young ladies, in my opinion, are ready as either.
Got you. Okay.
You know, so I think Becky Lynch. I agree with you. I think Becky Lynch walks away with this one, and Charlotte Flair may get another rematch with Becky Lynch a little bit down the road. But I think Becky Lynch here, because I like the Becky Lynch heel turn, and I like how this is going. To all the naysayers and haters out there who, when she turned heel, were upset and mad and cheering. These are the same people who are booing now. Weird.
Well,
wrestling
I guess you never know.
Wrestling fans, we're so emotional. We go with the flow, and never let storylines play out.
That's true.
Well, let's move on. Let's go on to the returning John Cena and Bobby Lashley taking on Kevin Owens and Elias. Elias here.
Yeah, that's AJ. Not AJ. I'm sorry. That's Kevin Owens and what's it? Not Kevin. I'm sorry.
Kevin Owens and Elias.
Well, not Kevin Owens and Elias. Bobby Lashley and John Cena. That's what I meant to say. They're winning. We ain't getting Cena like that anymore. He's pretty much going to win most of the matches, especially ones like this. He'll win them. I'm going Cena and Lashley.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. John Cena and Bobby Lashley gets to win here. We get to see a little Leo Rush as well down in Australia. So, Bobby Lashley and John Cena gets to win here. Not even much discussion on this one here. Kevin Owens and Elias has been doing a lot of good work, but it's Bobby Lashley and John Cena show down here. I think we move on to the Shield taking on the Dogs of War. The Shield's taking on the Dogs of War here. I got the Dogs of War winning this.
Yeah, there's something weird about it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's something when I'm not saying Dean Ambrose is going to turn. Not at all. I just got the Dogs of War winning here over the Shield to set something up for later on. I see Braun Strowman maybe pinning Roman Reigns or pinning Seth Rollins or something of that nature. Or even Dean Ambrose getting pinned, letting him be the quote-unquote weak link.
That's where it's funny you say that. That's where I was going to go. Is that Dean may end up being the one taking the fall.
Yeah, and being the weak link here, but I do see the Dogs of War getting the win here over the Shield. You got the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think we move on to Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, which right now I think this is the feud of the year. Definitely the feud of the year. Haven't been some of the matches have been good. I don't think they'll get the match of the year, but it definitely is the feud of the year. Samoa Joe taking on AJ Styles. You give me your thoughts first on this one.
Well, my prediction earlier is based on what I thought was going to happen with this match. I'm going Samoa Joe, man. I feel as though you're in Australia. You want something big to happen. I think this is the match that offers the most upside to doing it with. I'm going Joe, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got to go Joe here, too. I think Samoa Joe gets the title here in Australia. I think it's time for AJ Styles to lay the title down. I mean, him and Joe have another rematch. Goes to the same thing I said about the women's title. Who else is there on SmackDown right now that would challenge Samoa Joe, AJ Styles? I know Daniel Bryan or The Miz in this case. I said Daniel Bryan. What a match Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan will put on. Go back to Ring of Honor and check out some of the matches they had there. But I think Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan we'll get this match. We'll face each other. I think Daniel Bryan will be the #1 contender, and Daniel Bryan will face Samoa Joe. And shoot, Joe, talk about the heat. Joe can heat seat Daniel Bryan easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mic skills, on his wife, his family, his kids, his broken, his injury that he had. I think Samoa Joe gets the win here over AJ Styles. He was
Yeah, I do
close.
too.
He was close at the last pay-per-view. I think Joe finishes his job here. And let's move on to the main event of the evening, as most people will say. The last time ever, as WWE has driven that point home, that Undertaker takes on Triple H for the last time ever down in Australia. Undertaker with Kane in his corner, Triple H with Shawn Michaels in his corner. Who do you have here?
I'm going Triple H. I just think this continues into more, and just because there's been so much emphasis on the fact that he's never beaten Taker, I think he beats him this time.
I don't think we get a winner.
Okay. I can take that.
I don't just both of those guys on the outside, Kane and Shawn. I think this just comes to a point where the referee can't control it anymore. I know it's a letdown for the wrestling fans that are there, but after you watch 4 hours of this pay-per-view, 4.5 hours, you might be ready for it to go off anyway. I just don't think there might be a winner to set up something later on down the road, whether it's with Shawn and Taker, whether it's Taker, whatever case, a tag team match, whether it's the Brothers Destruction taking on DX. I just don't think there is a clear-cut winner in this match, and we have something to continue on for another pay-per-view.
Yeah. Well, I really, 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 really am so upset, as I've said many a time. It looks like all signs are pointing to Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement. Not a fan of it. Now, I'll be a fan because it's him, but not a fan of the situation.
I had a discussion with somebody earlier, and I had to think of a person who retired and hasn't really wrestled. And the only person I can really think of was Stone Cold.
Yeah.
That's the only person I can think of that is really.
But he didn't have a retirement match, though. See?
Yeah, he didn't have a retirement match.
There was no big fanfare for it.
Yeah. Did Mick retire? Has Mick wrestled a match since his retirement?
His original retirement in 2000, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, his original retirement in 2000, yes, definitely that. But yeah, Austin is the only person I can think of. I mean, he didn't have an official send-off per se, but since he said he was retired, has not wrestled a match since. Can't think of anybody else.
Yeah, not off the top of my head, no.
No. So I mean, I know Shawn's getting old. What do you think about the bald head Shawn?
Well, that's him. I mean, that's what he can't hold on to any other haircut, it looks like. So that's gonna have to be the one.
Well, it was a lot of hair pieces and stuff going on in that match with Takers and
yeah.
on Monday night. Anyway, Super Showdown. I think this will be a good card in Australia. I think it's good for the Australia fans. I like the fact that WWE is going outside of the country and doing different shows. Not like they haven't been doing it before, but I like the fact that they broadcast it on the network, and which I think because they broadcasting this stuff on the network, we're getting closer and closer to a major pay-per-view overseas.
Absolutely. I wasn't a fan of it, but I absolutely see it happening.
Yeah, definitely see it happening. Whether it's and I think it will be a SummerSlam before it's a WrestleMania. I don't think they'll do WrestleMania first overseas. I think they'll do a SummerSlam because the only problem with the WrestleMania overseas situation is the Raw after and the SmackDown after. Could you get the same crowd? And then the Raw will be taped. So you want that reaction.
Yeah, I guess you can go there. I guess you could.
You want that reaction. But nonetheless, hey, we'll be here after the Super Showdown. Give you the reactions and results from the Super Showdown pay-per-view on Saturday morning. Please make sure you set your alarm clocks. Get up early to watch the Super Showdown. If you are a late sleeper, go ahead and catch up on the network. But I'll let you know there will be spoilers out there. Stay off the internet. Stay off social media if you plan on watching the Super Showdown when you get up on Saturday morning, because I guarantee you there will be a lot of results already out there.
Yeah, just cut everything off.
Yeah, just cut your network right on, and then watch it from there. Hey, but Wizard, that's all we got for tonight with our prediction show. And do what you do, man. Take us home.
Hey, if you're not confirmed, consider yourself denied.
In the story, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Catch you next week.